I was also a educational instructor in the Marine Corps as well. So I know how to do platform instruction. So I was like, well, you know what? This might be something I actually like to do. So I asked if I could be an instructor there. So they said, yeah, we take you in a heartbeat. So I said, okay, cool. So I became an instructor there, and I was instructing National Academy of Sports Medicine, the certified personal trainer course. So I was teaching that. And I started to get a little bit of pushback from the management because I was doing alternative teaching strategies. I was really engaged with the students. The students were loving it. And it wasn't death by PowerPoint. So
right.
they
were like, just stick with the book. Just stick with the book, Marc.
Exactly. And I also was bringing in a perspective of, I am an entrepreneur. I've been running my business, and this is now 2019. So I've been running my business for almost 2 years. And, I've learned a lot. So I'm giving them that perspective, and they didn't appreciate that because they were linked to Crunch Fitness. And so the students, when they would graduate, they kind of funnel into Crunch Fitness.
Sure.
So me giving them all these tools about being an independent contractor was messing that up. So essentially they let me go. And when they let me go on the drive from San Diego up to Temecula, it was about an hour drive, I came up with Manifest. And I basically said that I'm going to be the Lowe's to their Home Depot.
I love it.
That's how Manifest came about. But the way that I did it, this is I know that I'm trying to keep the story short.
No, keep going.
But I drove up to Self-Made Training Facility headquarters that day, and I walked up to the vice president at the time, and I said, I want to be your director of education, and I'll work for free. And he's like, what's the catch? I said, just have the CEO put me on social media and say I'm the director of education. I'll do the rest. And he is like, okay, let's figure this out. So we went up, talked to him, and told him the same thing. And he said, what's the catch as well? And I said, just put me on social media. He said, why? And I said, because you have 45,000 followers at the time. I have none. So I need to gain some followers. So he was like, done. So we did it. And I worked for free. I was not an employee, but I was still running my personal training business. And so I was going around to all the franchises. At the time, there was like 15. And I was teaching the trainers about their educational like resources and certifications and things. And plus, I brought in a lot of partnerships to include NASM to the facility. And I started to make a name for myself. That was through 19, 20, and then 21. And in the mid 21, the CEO said, hey, you're doing too much and we haven't paid you. And I said, I know, I'm good. And they was like, no, we're going to bring you on board. So I quit my personal training business and I became the director of education full-time with corporate.
Gotcha.
Shortly thereafter, vice president resigned and I became the facility manager for headquarters and the vice president. So I was the vice president, facility manager, and director of education all at the same time. There was one particular position that had eluded me because of, obviously I hadn't purchased a franchise yet, but I wanted to be a franchise owner because I was mentoring franchise owners, but I didn't actually was a franchise owner. I was just a facility manager. So I dropped everything and I moved to Dallas, Texas in August of 2022. And I took over the franchise here in Dallas. And within 10 months became the #1 franchise out of the company and out of 20 locations. And and it doesn't stop there.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
2024, the CEO and founder passed away. May he rest in peace. And when he passed away, every franchise owner looked at me and said, you're the only person that could be the CEO of this company. So in January of 2025, I took over as the CEO of the company. And I was the CEO for 10 months. And I resigned due to some internal conflicts between me and the trust managers, which was just a difference of values. And then I exited my franchise in December, all amicable and everything. In January of this year, Manifest Fitness Institute is all mine, and I'm the CEO of this company. And that's the story moves on.
Yeah.